Hello, everyone. Welcome to Middle East Teaching and Learning Conference. This is your presenter, Shumaila Shazadi. I am Curriculum Lead of Moral, Social and Cultural Studies, Head of ECA, and representative of national and international collaborations at Al Salam Private School, Dubai. Today, we are going to talk about some of the pedagogical strategies for an outstanding lesson. I really hope that this session is really fruitful for you. Please don't hesitate to put any questions in the question and answer session. I'll be really happy to answer any of your queries. So let's start with pedagogical strategies for an outstanding lesson. We are going to dive into what pedagogy is, what impact it has, and what an outstanding lesson looks like. So when we talk about pedagogy, what it means. Pedagogy basically is a way of teaching. It's a method of teaching in which teachers teach, both in theory and in practice. Pedagogy is shaped by educators' teaching beliefs and involves the understanding of culture and different learning styles. It is essential for students to have meaningful classroom relationships in order to build on prior learning. So basically, when we talk about pedagogy, it's really important because it gives teachers an insight into the best practices for a classroom setting. And it allows them to understand how different students learn and what are the different needs. Pedagogy refers to the way of teaching students. Whether it is a theory or the practice of educating, it is a relationship between the culture and the techniques of learning. The main aim of pedagogy is to build on previous learning of the students and work on the development of skills and attitude of the learners. We differentiate according to the abilities of the children's need, and then we move on to further and build on our strategies further by looking into it. So, because we know that each student is unique in their different way, and they have their different abilities. Pedagogy helps us to approach and differentiate the instructions in the classroom to accelerate learning gains for everyone in the class. So, when we talk about pedagogy, what role it plays in the effective learning? There are numerous ways if we learn the different strategies of pedagogy and if we dive into what strategies we can apply in our classrooms according to the needs and ability of our students. The basic role of pedagogy is definitely it improves teaching quality. It helps teachers to have interactive learning in the classroom. Just compare the classroom where everyone is active and everyone is ready to learn. This is the teacher who makes that students comfortable with them, and it's the teacher who makes them learn in an active way. Pedagogy encourages different learning styles. It's not only about coming in the class and deliver the lecture and go back. No, it accelerates the learning styles. It eliminates the monotonous learning, and its main focus is given on the outcomes of the courses, and the students are free to learn in their own ways and styles. It also enables learning for students with special needs. Differentiation is the key point. As we discussed earlier, every student have their own learning styles. Every student have their own ability to grow. Like a popcorn, every popcorn pops at different time, the same way the students are. They will get it sooner or later, but they will need their own atmosphere, their own time to pop. So differentiation is the key, and it enables all kinds of learners to reach at the level. It also clarifies the learning objectives. It is a convenient learning approach for everyone. Now, when we talk about pedagogy, it's really impactful for the learners, and you know that we are focused for our learners. It is a student-centered approach. Pedagogy is always useful when it comes for the students, where the students take the responsibility of their own learning. It encourages the teamwork, the collaboration. It also is a continuous assessment tool for the students. Teachers can assess on a continuous basis, and it develops the cognitive skills. It helps students to develop cognitive skills like evaluation, detailed analysis, comprehension, and application of the courses. Now, when we talk about an outstanding lesson, there are different attributes to the outstanding lesson. Basically, what is an outstanding lesson? An outstanding lesson is that lesson where the student shows clear evidence of their learning, where you can evaluate that students has learned, where you can evaluate that the progression has happened. So there are a lot of areas for strengths and no or less significant areas for improvement. That is called an outstanding lesson. So what are the basic attributes where we called a lesson an outstanding lesson? Basically, when the lesson is planned properly, keeping in mind that there is a time restraint, typically when a teacher goes in the class, there is a session of 40 to 50 minutes, and we need to show and we need to practice the content and everything in that particular lesson. We need to plan accordingly. And as a teacher, you know that there is always a plan, be ready. Like, for example, if something doesn't goes well, you need to switch on to the plan B. Like when you are explaining something and some of your students, they don't understand, you need to move on to the different strategy. So that is lesson planning, which is a basic concept which makes a lesson an outstanding lesson. Clear objective, clear outcome, and a clear assessment criteria helps the lesson to be an outstanding lesson if it is made clear to all the students of your class. They should know what they are learning today. They should know what will be the outcome, and they should have an assessment criteria where you can refer to and make them aware that if you reach this step, you have achieved the objective. Subject knowledge definitely is a basic of any outstanding lesson. If an observer is in the class or if you are self-reflecting, you would know that if you are able to answer all the questions raised in the class, definitely it makes an outstanding lesson. Active participation is the key, no doubt. When the students are engaged, they show interest in the lesson, that lesson is no doubt an outstanding lesson. Critical thinking is the element in the outstanding lesson which enhance the learning ability of the students and it makes them think out of the box. Collaboration, again, a teamwork, because when different ability students get together to solve any puzzle, they will come up with their positive inputs, and that lesson can be an outstanding lesson if we have a teamwork. Either it's a pair work, either it's a small group, either it's a big group, but collaboration is definitely an element of an outstanding lesson. Differentiation, as we discussed earlier, every student has an ability of their own. So we need to differentiate. We are going to discuss one of the pedagogical strategy afterwards. Progression is the key element of any outstanding lesson. For example, if you have all other elements in an outstanding lesson, you have shown them the objective, you have a lesson plan, which is excellent, you have an excellent subject knowledge, children are participating in the lesson, there is a critical thinking element, there is a teamwork, there is a differentiation task given to the students. But if the progression is not shown in the lesson, that lesson cannot be an outstanding lesson. There is a way of showing a progression in the session. For example, when you start your lesson, just take the prior knowledge of a student. And then at the end of the lesson, you can check the understanding of the lesson, and then you can make them compare that what you have learned today. This shows your progression. So when we talk about an outstanding lesson, the simple flow, a general flow and an expected flow of an outstanding lesson looks like this. You start with the topic, you are clear with the objective and outcome, you have told your students what we are going to learn today. You have an icebreaker activity, you have a starter, you can have a critical thinking question in the big question, and then you can have a flow of the lesson moving towards the checking of the previous knowledge of the student. Moving forward with the content, all the content which you are going to cover in that lesson, the reading point. After the main content, you can check that how much the students learn through a concept check or mid-plenary. Then you can move forward with the videos, any relevant videos or any relevant activities, which is great for the different ability students. It is also a part of a differentiation. Like for example, your spatial, the spatial children, which needs the videos or the picture in front of them to visualize. It is relevant for them. They can understand it really well if you are showing some videos or any pictures or any content visually. After all the content, the concept checks, the videos, you are moving forward with your main tasks. Now, when you are moving forward with the main task, you can have a formative assessment, summative assessment, or in that particular task, after doing the task, you can check their understanding by making them doing the self-assessment as well. After the task, you can go for the plenary, where there is a quick overview of what you have done in that lesson, and at the end, there is a progress check. Now, again, I would like to tell you one of the strategy of a progress check here. When in the starter, when you are talking about this, checking your previous knowledge, here if you can see previous knowledge, you can use a strategy where you can say them to use one color pen for making a mind map of that particular topic and say them to write whatever points they know already about the topic. At the end of the session here, where there is a progress check, you can say them to take an other color pen and write down all the main points they have learned that day. It shows a very, very clear concept of what they have learned today. Now, when we move forward, we can see that there are numerous strategies to apply when it comes to the teaching. And specifically when we are talking about the outstanding lesson, there are definitely a number of strategies which we can apply to make a lesson an outstanding lesson. I'm going to discuss some of the strategies. There are more and more strategies you can add in. So before I move forward, I would like to tell you that you can even do the progress check of this session while writing the points that what you have known before the session, and at the end of the session, what you have gained from the session. The first strategy which I would like to tell you is the visualization. As I told earlier, that some children, as we talk about differentiation, they have different abilities. Some students, they are really good at calculations. Some students are really good at art. But some students really, really understand when it comes to the visualization. Please don't hesitate to use your interactive boards to display any photos, any audio clips, or any videos. It will encourage students to visualize and think and understand the concept practically. The dull concepts to life with the visual and practical learning experience, helping your students to understand how the schooling applies in the real world is through videos. So please don't hesitate to put up any videos or visual displays. Even you can use your Prometheans to draw on spot, your interactive boards to draw, or even the whiteboard to help the students to get an imagination that what we are talking about. Even you can go ahead with the field trips or an outdoor classes. That also is really helpful for them. The next strategy, as we are talking about outstanding lesson, is cooperative learning, the collaborative work. Please do remember that school is a place where the different ability students can get together, and there is a place where we can teach them tolerance, where we can teach them that how to work with different ability groups and different thinking with each other. So teamwork and team building is one of the attribute of the pedagogical strategy. You encourage your students of mixed ability to work together by promoting small groups or a whole class activity. You can even have some critical thinking questions in a big question. You can even verbally express their ideas. They should be allowed to verbally express what they are thinking, and responding to others. Your students will develop their self-confidence as well as enhance their communication and critical thinking skills, which are vital throughout life. You can make them in a smaller group and say them to solve some puzzles. You can even conduct some of the scientific experiments, and they can even have some role plays in the classes. And believe me, they love role plays. So you can assign some tasks to them. Like, for example, some of the students can write, some of them can act, some of them can direct. So they have their different roles and they can work in a group to have a great exposure of learning. Inquiry based learning or instructions are really useful when it comes to the strategy of a pedagogical style. So you can pose some thought provoking questions which inspire students to think for themselves and become more independent learners, because it's really important that students should take the responsibility of their own learning. They should know that they are the ones who can think about them. They are the ones who should take the responsibility of their learning. Encourage your students to ask the questions. Make the environment that they should not hesitate to ask you the questions. Make the positive relationship with your students. Investigate. They should investigate their own ideas, and it will definitely helps them to improve their problem solving skills, and they will get the deeper understanding of academic concepts. Like, for example, we have brainstorming sessions in the start or in between even, where you can ask big questions, critical thinking questions. And these sessions are really, really helpful for them, that they have to find out the solutions by themselves. You can even say them to find out some solutions for the case studies. You can, for the elder children, you can give them some case studies and let them solve the problems in a group or independently. So these type of inquiry-based instructions are really useful in the teaching strategies. As I spoke earlier about differentiation, that every child is special and they pop at the right time like a popcorn. So differentiation is the key to any outstanding lesson. For differentiation, what you can do, because as a teacher, you know the abilities of your students and you have that relationship with them where you can have an idea that what kind of what kind of ability your children is owning. So for differentiation, you can have some hands-on activities, you can have a graphic organizers, you can have some different ability tasks where students can choose their own tasks. They can have in between a small stretch breaks, so that some ADHD students or some of the sense students, they can have a break in between. And then you can have different worksheets which have different ability questions in your class. So assigning classroom activities according to the students' unique learning needs means individuals and higher academic capabilities are stretched, and those who are struggling get the appropriate support, because you're teaching by allocating tasks based on students' abilities to ensure that no one gets left behind. And even for some hand-on activities, like, for example, if you're having anything which is more helpful when it's in hands-on, this will help students to encourage learning, and they will learn more through hands-on activities. So as we talk about the visualization, where we are using smart boards, we are using YouTube videos or any other videos, clips, audio clips. We need technology nowadays in our classrooms. As you know, that due to COVID protocols, everyone went for e-learning, and there is a time when we just shifted from the normal and casual teaching towards the e-learning. When it comes to the e-learning, technology in the classroom plays a vital role. When you are talking about technology in the classroom, you can have this is a great way to actively engage your students. And you know that nowadays in 21st century, digital media surrounds young people, and they're more into the technology. You can use different tools like Padlet, Quizzes, Nearpod, Kahoot, and there are many more which can be used even for taking up their responses, making them have a collaborative work, and even they can self-reflect when it comes to the quizzes. And you can even use these kind of quizzes and online tools for the formative and summative assessments. So this is really effective when it comes to an outstanding lesson and a strategy of a pedagogical style. Behavior management is something where teacher controls the behavior in a very positive way, because you need to have some policies and strategies in the class to control the behavior atmosphere of the class, because a productive learning environment needs no noisy and disruptive classrooms. Because if a class is noisy and disruptive, they will not encourage a productive learning environment. Therefore, developing an atmosphere of mutual respect through a combination of discipline and reward can be beneficial for both of you and your students. So you need to have some effective behavior management, and there are many strategies when it comes to the pedagogy or teaching styles in your classroom. Like, for example, you can have some fun and interactive reward charts. You can have dojo systems. You can have golden time, where you can give a small prizes and rewards for the students who are really behaving well. And you can have different policies in your classroom according to the needs and abilities of the students. And believe me, a great behavior management is the key to success and an outstanding lesson. But remember, consistency is the key. If you are consistent, then your students will know that this will happen and this is the policy, and they will trust you as well. So please remember, consistency is the key in any behavior management and policy. Moving towards the next strategy, this is something for you, professional development. Yes, engaging in regular professional development programs is a great way to enhance teaching and learning in your classroom, because you know that now is the era where there is a competition. We have to be very competent when it comes to the 21st century, when we are surrounded with so much technology, when there is e-learning programs, and we need to update ourselves as an educators. And with educational policies constantly changing, it is extremely useful to attend events where you can gain inspiration from other teachers and academics. It's also a great excuse to get out of the classroom and work alongside other teachers just like you. So thank you, Middle East Teaching and Learning Conference, for providing us such a great platform for the teachers so that we can learn together and grow together. Remember, being an effective teacher is a challenge because every student is unique. However, by using a combination of teaching strategies, you can address students' varying learning styles and academic capabilities, as well as make your classroom a dynamic and motivational environment for students. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Middle East Teaching and Learning Conference, for giving me an opportunity to come forward on this platform and share my experience. Thank you so much. Looking forward for your questions and really happy to answer them. See you soon. Signing off, Shazadi. Take care. Have a nice day.